course. They catch me off guard. Well, now are we in the background? Are we in?
Well, there's a 10-second lag too.
Oh, okay. There's a 10
He said
second
we're
lag.
live. That's all. I
Oh.
got.
Oh, okay. Oh, there we go. Now
First
we're on
30
live.
seconds is always an adventure.
Yeah, first 30 seconds is always like this. Hello, makers of the world, coming to you live in spirit from I3 Detroit in the innovative Ferndale, Michigan. This is the Make Something Wonderful podcast, a podcast exploring all the fantastic ways we create. I'm Thomas Tusano.
And I'm Matt Carpenter. And this week we are joined by Thad Johnson, I3 Detroit's zone coordinator for both CNC and injection molding. Welcome, Thad.
Hello. Thank you.
So, Thad, you want to tell everyone a little bit about, anyone who's been to the space has seen the Haas, I think, but you want to just kind of give a little bit of a background on the two zones that you manage?
Yeah, so we have the CNC zone, which we are really fortunate to have a really cool CNC machine, a Haas VF3, which is beyond a maker kind of machine. So I was like really excited when I saw that. In fact, I used to own one almost exactly like that that I use in industry. So that is really cool. And then we have the injection molding zone, which is really awesome. We have some injection molding machines that will actually run production. So I was able to get those going and been having a lot of fun with them. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, that's there's some good stuff that we'll talk about a little later, I think, about those machines and the kind of crossover with a lot of different parts of the space. Those are a good kind of example, along with the kilns, of how it really takes a village to keep that kind of stuff going in a place like ours.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I call the injection zone beyond 3D printing. So, if maybe your idea takes off, got these little machines sitting here waiting for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right, Thomas, you want to run through some little logistical things before we really get rolling here?
I wanted to share the news with everybody out there watching that we have finally hit 100 subscribers. And so now that means that we now qualify for YouTube's custom URL. Now, we did find out that the i3 YouTube channel, because we had two channels, we don't know who set up the first one, we don't know who currently owns it, has youtube.com/i3Detroit. So, what does this mean? It means that we need to probably reclaim the link, take down that channel, and then move over to this one because this one has been more active. That means that we are interested in more people who want to create content for the i3 YouTube channel. Please come to i3 TV in Slack. Tell us, pitch us a show idea. We're probably gonna greenlight it. Make content for us. Come talk with us about it.
And we've got lots of experience now from different people in the space on creating content and using the tools. And i3 has a tremendous amount of tools available for you to use for the kind of like licenses on software and things that you can use, as well as hardware, to do that kind of thing.
Yeah, so please reach out to us if you want to make content for the i3 space. And what else was there? And keep subscribing, guys, please. Let's keep this momentum going. Let's get i3 out there. Let's get maker spaces out there, and as well for Syn Shop and Gray Noise, help them out. Go over, check them out, because they're a great podcast as far as things go. And if you'd like to be on the show, reach out to us, thomas.tusano@gmail.com, or contact at i3.org, I believe is the other one. And if you mention it, they'll probably forward it along to us. Probably curse my name as well for dropping that contact. But
if you email contact, it'll go to at least 15 people. So someone will see it.
Yeah, someone will, and then someone will contact me and yell at me about it. But either way, as far as it goes, Thad, one of the questions we like to start off with is about misconceptions, because a lot of people, everyone makes an assumption about something you do. When you say, oh, I'm a blank profession trade, I'm a plumber, I'm an electrician, I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a machinist, they have an idea in their head, a stereotype that pops into mind. When you tell people what you do, is there a misconception that you want to clear up? Like, people always think you do X, Y, or Z, but in reality, you're doing something completely different.
Well, I always have a hard time telling people what it is I do. I don't know if I've figured it out yet. I've reinvented myself so much. I Yeah, they could call me an inventor. You could call me an entrepreneur. Call me an entrepreneur. Call me uh, nonprofit organization. I don't intentionally do that, but I end up that way sometimes. Um, so specifically, like for the CNC zone, the first time people see the machine, I think they're really intimidated. Like, oh my god, and you look at the control panel. First time you look at it, it's like maybe being in a small airplane. You're like, oh crap, I'm never going to learn all those buttons. I mean, and so I think the misconception would probably, ironically, be both easy, oh, that's easy. I want to learn how to run the Haas. The other one is, oh crap, I could never learn how to run the Haas. I think they're both misconceptions. I think that key is having a project and then that you really want to do. And then, I've been able to get people through from knowing nothing to running a machine. And a lot of it comes down to, how much, like everything, right? How much work somebody wants to put into it. But
Oh,
yeah,
practice.
so I've learned both those. And then injection molding, it was funny when I came in, there was a sign, because machines hadn't really been running, but there was a sign tacked up back. It had the steps for injection molding, had all these steps, you know, design the part, do it in CAD, blah, 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 build a mold, put it in the machine. Damn, it doesn't work. Go back to step one. I looked at that thing for probably 4 months, just trying to get it running, going, shit, I hope that's not me. And yeah, and so
The definition
uh,
of an iterative process.
yeah, and so so I got it done, and so again, I guess it's probably with the injection molding zone. It's like people think it's really hard. I was a salesman when I started out way back lifetimes ago, and I got tired of just selling stuff. I wanted to make stuff, and so I've been self-taught whole life. I mean, I have 2 years of business school, and I have a patent I sold to General Motors. So you know, this is just my thing. Is find something I'm interested in, study it, find some people to collaborate with, help me, and then methodically work at it. And you know, uh, so is it hard? Yeah, maybe. Is it easy? Yeah, if you take your time and you really want to do something. you know?
I think
Yeah.
that was something that I found, like, when I was learning to use the Haas, was that it's something that assumes that it's, like, really, really dangerous, but I think that I don't know if it was you or Jim that said the most dangerous piece of the machine is the air hose.
Oh,
Like,
That was Terry Wynn.
oh,
Yeah,
it was Terry that said that, okay, yeah, because it's, I mean, really, the machine is more dangerous to itself than it is to you, is
yeah.
what I had been taught.
Yeah, I mean, unless you you're just not gonna stick
Well,
your
I mean,
hand in
yeah, if
there when
you're
it's running, and when the
yeah,
tools snap, I mean, they're carbide, they snap and plink, and they just fall down.
yeah, and I mean,
But
yeah, if you're running it with the door closed and you're not, like, sticking your head in there, it's like, it's not.
yeah, I mean, yeah, you can get hurt, but it's pretty hard. It's mainly the machine that usually most concerned about.
Yeah, awesome.
So yeah, I guess those are the kind of misconceptions.
Yeah.
Cool.
Alright.
So, how did you kind of become in charge of those 2 zones, I guess? Because you weren't in charge of them when you originally joined. I know that I think the injection molders were the ones that you were technically a zone coordinator for
Right.
first, right?
Yeah. So I was gonna make these little Minecraft characters out of wood. In fact, my dad called them Pinocchios, and I went over to Ann Arbor because they had a shop bot. I tried and tried and tried to machine these out of wood, and it just didn't work out. It was a wood. I needed close tolerances, and then then trying to get the parts cut off, and it just didn't work out. And so then somehow heard about these injection molding machines at I3. So I came in to take a look at them, and they weren't being used. And so I looked them over. I said, yeah, I think we can get them run. At that time, was Nate. Ever he was kind of keeping the zone, just you know but keeping the wolves at bay so he didn't throw out the machines, And so then it was kind of a natural transition, for because Nate really wasn't using them. And so as I got him going, it just became natural. Hey, why don't you, be zone coordinator? Then the CNC zone, Jim Kemp was there. And then I was using those to make molds, the CNC zone. And then, Jim was getting a little burned out. He was, doing classes that were going so long and he was getting burned out. So I said, why don't I, and we were working together, we worked together really good. And he says, how about you want to be co-zone coordinator? So did that and that worked out really good. And then I started doing more of the training, then switched it from 13-week group classes to more individual, like preferably one person.
Yeah,
It
more
could just be,
mentoring.
oh yeah, then it's just hands-on, and I found me anyway, it works better. I can get people through it a lot faster and they'll come out, in my opinion, better. They're trained. And then Jim had his own house. Um, and so then I just kind of my co-zone coordinator left. Oh, I'm here.
You became de facto zone coordinator.
Yeah, so I came and yeah, so yeah, that's kind of how that went. And
I think
yeah,
it seems to be how a lot of our tools get their their kind of member who is their spokesperson, who just kind of manages that particular tool or brings the tool to the space, is someone who has a project that really needs that tool. And that, with the Minecraft figures and the injection molding, that's like a perfect example of that, I think.
yeah, I mean, it's just it's the best way to, if somebody has passion about something, and um, good start.
I mean, the sordid love affair between me and the Saw Stop is well known by this point. It's but
Yeah, you better have passion to hang in there through all of that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, so so either way, Thad, I mean, I want to start this next question off with an example because I remember my first maker fair that I attended I3 with my absolutely obnoxious bookcase, which will never be forgiven, as far as it goes. I remember that
Yeah.
I was placed to your left. I wanted no, wait, it would have no, you're right.
That was my
I,
right.
it was yeah. So and I watched you sling Red Lava toys the entire day long at Maker at the, just you went with them, and the way you got those kids to light up, and you yourself were excited about them. Like I was like, so this next question is gonna be like very more or less just probably dead obvious. Is what do you enjoy about what you do? Because I see you slinging these toys, and I'm like, wow, look at this guy go! Like I'm just sitting there, like, and I don't know if Rob has them or can pull example of if you have a web presence as far as it goes, for Red Lava or any of your portfolio. But yeah, I was just
Yeah,
like, how
that's
he
funny.
enjoys this, and that was like. That was one of the things is I do see you in the space normally enjoying whatever you are doing, and I kind of have to remind myself because normally I force myself as a woodworker sometimes, and as someone with just a hint of mental illness, I have to force myself to
Don't
roll
we
out of
all?
bed in the morning. And either way, I normally see you in the space, and I go, Thad is someone who always seems to be enjoying what he does. What is it you enjoy so much about what you do?
Well, um, well, for your example with the kids, I love kids. And before I did this, I was on my W-2 says for occupation. It literally says mad scientist, and it and so
That's a good way to
I-
keep them from auditing you.
yeah, especially when they would, especially when they see what you get paid to do it. But I make up for it in fun. Oh yeah, I because I retired early. Like I said, I sold my patents. I was a really smart guy. Found out I wasn't quite as smart as I want, but I was. And so then I had to go get a job. Oh, I got this job as a head scientist, and so for 5 years I taught kids science. I'd go into schools and do big assemblies. I'd go in their classroom, birthday parties. It's a franchise, Mad Science. This one was Mad Science of Detroit, and so I have 6 grandsons, and I love kids. I don't know what it is about them. They're just guess I never really grew up. People, what do you want to do when you grow up? Not grow up. And I love them because they're just so much fun. And then the reaction they get to these Minecraft characters, it's crazy. Come up and some of them will just, I mean, they'll physically react when they see them. They'll go, "Oh my God. Oh, there's Dan TDM," and yeah, I just love kids and I love making things. I mean, I was a salesman way back in a galaxy far, far away. And I went to a motivational, taking Dale Carnegie and doing all that stuff. And I went to afterwards, I went up and talked to the instructor at this motivational thing. Man, how do you get out of bed? I was finding it so hard to get out of bed. I was a salesman. He said, "Well, do you love what you do?" Oh, really? And oh, eventually I found a guy to teach me how to build tools and dies, and I was making prototype parts for people I was selling automotive parts like water pump covers, engine hood bumpers, rubber parts, and I found out I love to make things, and I love the science of it, and I just like to make things and collaborate with people. Uh, for your what you were talking about, Thomas. I mean, I just loved kids in that age range, and so it's just me. It's fun. It's a blast.
Yeah. I always Lyra, Nikki and Brad's daughter.
Uh-huh.
I refer to her as the greatest sociological experiment ever done because she's being raised by a bunch of makers. Because Nikki and Brad have a very unique approach and a very admirable approach to parenting, and they more or less, like, as far as it goes, they let I3 like raise her. And so I have to say I'm right there with you, Thad, because I view kids and making as a way to teach a new respect for science education and trades, because so many
Yeah.
people look at physics and they go, "Oh man, this is really great." Well, have you ever done a deep dive in the physics of kickback? Because if you could explain to a 5-year-old kid what's going on when someone's cutting a timber board and it shoots halfway across the shop, I mean, have them stand aside. But I'm pretty sure a lot more of them would want to grow up to be lumberjacks, because that's pretty cool. Like, the evil Knievel of the making world, the jocks of the making world are the woodworkers. But either way, I love
Yeah.
your perspective on it, because I love showing kids, woodworking and the old world trades and blacksmithing and the resurgence and some of that stuff, because there's a lot of lost science there. There's a lot of good opportunities to teach science education in crafts. So
Oh yeah, and I mean, there's. It's just a shame that there isn't a way to get more kids involved. At an earlier age with like CAD and machining. I keep trying to think of how we can get involved with that. People
I
doing
think
it, but
yeah, I think in a lot of ways 3D printing has definitely helped with that, right? Because it's
yeah,
one thing to teach a kid to use Tinkercad or even Google SketchUp or something that's not as fully feature rich as like SolidWorks or something. Uh, and it's another thing to put them in front of the Bridgeport and trust them to keep all of their fingers and various
yeah,
appendages. Or God
absolutely.
forbid a lathe.
Absolutely. I still remember the first time I got a CAD program and I extruded a box out. It was like
Yeah.
magic. And then the first time I saw something go out of my computer and come off the 3D printer, you're right, Matt. I mean, that's
Yeah.
just a great way.
Absolutely. And then now, I mean, so many that's the thing, like I do, some 3D printing for my job. And so when they do like, bring your kid to work day or whatever, they'll always have some of us in those rooms. And it's always kind of entertaining because like if the kids are over, or if well, okay. The parents are usually more excited than the kids because the parents are like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing," and the kids are like, We have these in my classroom since I was in like second grade, like these 3D printers. It's not exciting to them. It's revolutionary to their parents. And like, this is amazing, and the kids are like, yeah, I've seen this before. It's not interesting to
Yeah,
me
right.
anymore.
Right. Right. It's no, there's something that I've been trying to incorporate this into the CNC zone. There's a guy, his name's Titan of CNCs, and he was in prison. Uh, and he was introduced to CNC machining. He said it changed his life. And he got out and he had a reality show. Big guy, big tough guy, and machines things fast, and he built up a big business. And then the oil industry was supplying out, and he pretty much almost lost everything. He retooled. He said, what we need is we need education. And so he got together with Haas and Mitutoyo and cutting tool companies, and he has three um, curriculum is for take somebody and teach them how to CAD. Start with level one, and I actually refer people now in CNC training, and take them through CADing up a part in the cam, and then machining it. And he's introducing this into high schools. As well as, I mean, he actually got Haas to put 16 CNCs into San Quentin prison. He goes in there, but he's introducing this around the world. And, like you say, 3D printing, the kids are going, yeah, okay, that's cool, but how much, you're not really going to, yeah, you can get a job 3D printing stuff, but usually it's kind of while you're doing something else. But
Yeah.
teaching somebody CAD program and then maybe and how to machine it and write tool paths, high school.
Yeah.
Oh my God, if you drive around town, pay attention, signs that say CNC operator needed.
Yeah.
Right. And
Like teaching a kid to weld, right? It's a job that you'll never
yeah,
be without work.
yeah. And it's nothing that, kids in high school can't learn. And
Yeah.
like you say, they're learning it already with 3D printing. So that's an exciting time.
Yeah, and it's kind of like what you're saying with the injection molding, right? Like 3D printing, if you want to make like a couple hundred of something, it's fine. But if you want to make large numbers of things or actual hard tools, like there's only so far, at least right now, that you can go with that in a scalable way. And I think that, talking about teaching kids in the high school age range, uh, like CNC operation is kind of a good bridge between, for so long, and this is something I think we talked about on the show before. For so long, we've been kind of downplaying the skilled trades, and that's
Right.
kind of a good kind
Right.
of mix between the two, right? It's a skilled trade, but it's also close to the kind of formal education stuff that we've been elevating for all these years.
And it's
Yeah.
where the classical industries are now headed. Like, I will tell you, I'm a production woodworker at the moment, professionally. And right now, our shop has 2 dozen small bed CNC machines churning product. And so when we get assigned a shift in the CNC room, we're flipping product all day and timing out the efficiency of that. And we basically turn into operators
Right.
as far as it goes. And that's what we're doing. I mean, we don't have to write the files. We Z the machines, and then we more or less like locate, middle of the piece. We have a center mark,
Oh,
and we start the program and make sure that the bit doesn't drop or the program doesn't fail, so on and
right.
so forth. But yeah, even woodworking now, as far as it goes, like yes, we're beholden to technology. That was another question, real quick, that I want to clear
Yeah.
up for the YouTube chat. Are you all woodworkers? Um, I am woodworker by trade. Matt would like to learn woodworking. Once we're in person, I plan on teaching him again. Thad, I don't know if you've done woodworking in the past, but Thad, why we have him here tonight is for the injection molding and the CNC machining, to answer our follower Dalbin, who asked the question. But yeah, more or less, CNC is creeping its way into, or is already. Lutheries, guitar builders, more or less, are now all compute, like more or less all computer, or they're boutique builders who are building for very by hand. It's one or the other. There's very few guys who can kind of play the mid market, and when they do to great success. But a lot of things these days are traditional crafts. Yes, it's the bridge between the two as far as it goes. Teach a man to CNC and you'll feed him for life, kind of thing.
Oh yeah, and the beauty of it is, way back, you had to put your hands on a lathe, a mill, somebody to train you. Today, you can get Autodesk Fusion, and you can be CADing in a commercial grade package and writing tool paths. And you don't have to have any money to do that. You
Mhm.
can do it in ninth and 10th grade. That's the beauty of today. That's what this Titan of CNC is. He says, "Hey, we can remain in manufacturing. We don't, we can do it."
Yeah,
And then,
Absolutely.
like you say, in wood, I mean, CNCs are all over the place.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome. So we've kind of talked about a whole bunch of different areas and different things you worked on and kind of different types of skill. Uh, would you say that you kind of specialize in any particular thing, or there's kind of one category that like you have a specific method that you think it sets you apart, or is your kind of secret weapon kind of thing?
Well, I guess my secret weapon is that I'm just a determined son of a bitch. And guy that used to work for me, he says, "You're like a dog with a bone, you just bite into it. It just won't let go." And I like to take things from a napkin to the bank. Okay? Um and and I like to so I guess my secret weapon is determination, because I'm not brilliant. I mean, I got okay grades. I'm okay. I'm not dumb, not super smart. I'm determined. And so I like to look for something and then focus on it. I guess so. Determination. Then the second thing that's probably right up there, almost equal, is collaboration. I love to collaborate with somebody, other person, and just seems like we can do the work of four people. And I like to take this idea and this, I like to find something unique. Like I had a motion capture studio, one of the biggest ones in the country.
Hmm.
So we did the Iron Man video, all the cinematics for the first Iron Man video game.
Hmm.
Uh, so I like to look for unique things, then take them from the concept, well, bank, to make some money at it, and have a bunch of fun along the way.
Gonna say,
So
do what
yeah,
you love, right? That's what they say.
yeah. So determination and collaboration. This would be my secret weapon.
I think that kind of leads into another one of our questions, which is probably a good one. Um, if you want to take that
oh
one,
yeah.
Thomas.
So one of the things that we love about that we've expressed on the show that we love about i3 is that there's members wandering all about, and you can learn something from a member just by you can cross pollinate. And the example I like to use, and I think I used last episode too, was me and Jan talking about the scroll saw in the wood shop is not too different from a sewing machine kind of thing. And so like there are some tools that almost their function or form kind of like reminds you it crosses discipline kind of deal. So
Yeah.
long and the short of it is, what's something that you've learned from another member at i3 that you weren't kind of expecting, or that gave you that kind of like aha moment, and you knew how to kind of tackle something better, or you had a new idea that you didn't even think was in the realm of possibility to you, might have caught something out of the corner of your eye that another i3 member was doing.
Oh wow. The oh no, I guess it just really surprises me is how, I guess I'd have to say, really didn't want to learn G code. Just really didn't want. When I was going through training, they were forcing me to learn. Oh, I hated that. And I mean, my response to them was, okay, if CNC operator needs to learn G code, how many 3D printer people out there know G code? Don't need it. Don't need it.
Boy, that would
And
be such a different way to look at it because that's additive. So, like, I'm used to thinking of G code in a subtractive manufacturing kind of method, but that would be totally weird, inverted
oh
to
yeah,
think
but
about.
it's all G code. It's all
It's
running
all,
G
yeah,
code.
it's the
Yeah,
same
but
G
it's
codes, but
the same G
flipped
code.
on its
But
head.
they were when I came in there, were like, you've got to learn G code. And so I said, oh, okay, this is the rules. This is a community. I'm gonna do it. I knew a little bit of G code. I could, M8, M9, turn the coolant on and off, and
Spin the
I
spindle, all the importance.
yeah, and then and so then Jim Kemp, I remember first time we're in there doing classes going, oh look, you can put the variables in here, variable 1, you control this, variable 2, variable 3, variable 4. And I'm just not a programmer. I've just
Well, he's a software
never
guy.
never took to it. My brain, I don't know, maybe it works, maybe, but I've just never the time into it. So I'm like just not a programmer. And I'm looking at him, and over time, even today, I'm working on a project with him, and he was explaining his thought process of computer science and programming and variables and how processors work. And no, my I could feel my mind opening up, my brain, and actually starting. I could taste it without throwing up. And
Electrical engineering has that effect on people.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, that surprised me. But also it's just such a cool place. Like I had like it's just so many people that like come over and have helped or helped me do things. Electrically, mechanically. I'm not the best fabricator. Like if I need a bracket and bend it in 3D space and I'll put it up there where it doesn't look like a mangled mess when I'm done with it. Oh, people have come over. A couple people in the space have come over and let me help you with that bracket, and they scribe line, this, that, go back, boom, boom, bam, come back, it fits. I go, did you do that? What about I do like to watch craftspeople. You can tell a craftsperson, you watch them work. You can just see it. And I love to watch somebody that's really good at their craft. And get that all the time. I can go sit somebody and watch somebody, even if they're doing soldering a circuit. You can tell a good solderer versus not so good just by watching them. To me, it's almost like artwork, watching a craftsman work. So there's just so many examples around I3 of that.
And that's why so many of these YouTube channels have taken off of they're like the old oh crap, what were the old woodworking shows, right? That were like
Oh,
Yeah.
on regular
right.
TV. It's like it's that kind of stuff. It's just very relaxing to watch someone who's
Yeah.
good at something do it.
They
Yeah.
know what they're doing, Each move, it's not a wasted movement. Oh, it's the elegance of simplicity. It's all getting too poetic. It's just to me, it's a beautiful thing. But I3 is full of people like that.
I have to go back to something you said real quick, that because I've almost for a second, to be a little bit of an egotistical, I've always thought for a second that I was the only person in I3 who didn't speak like math and programming. I like immediately like the first thing that comes out of their mouth is like
Yeah,
numbers. And
yeah.
I'm just like so I've always nomenclatured myself as the dumbest member at I3. And I don't mean as in like I'm stupid. I mean
Yeah.
as in I don't speak like I'm
Oh yeah,
I'm
there's a lot of numbers speak around there.
and it's not to offend anybody, because that's exactly why I brought Matt in, is because he's the exact opposite brain of me, and I'm like, we need chemistry for this whole show's thing to work. So as far as it goes, and plus like there are some times where me and Matt line up on this rare joke, and we'll like like it's really funny. It's like watching Goofus and Gallant the whole time. Or and
Yeah,
I'm gonna admit I'm Goofus. I'm not
yeah.
But when you said that and you said those things, the first thing that came to mind was, oh my god, he's like me. You mean there's
Right.
other members like
Yeah,
me? I thought I was the only. You mean you don't understand these guys either?
right. Oh no, yeah. Yeah, exactly. My head was gonna explode. I remember that. I just wanted to learn G code because I wanted to make my damn Minecraft characters. Quit feeding me this G code. And oh man, he wrote all these variables and all this crap, and he's going, "Isn't this beautiful?" No, it sucks.
Well, he's looking at that like that 1 meg of storage capacity that the Haas has as a
Oh yeah,
challenge.
yeah, yeah.
Gotta squeeze as
Oh
much in
yeah.
there as you can.
That's the beauty of i3. I mean, that's it's just purely the beauty. I mean, where can you go? Of just exposure to so many cool things and people. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Nobody knows everything. Nobody knows everything.
Yeah. And to explain real quick, there's someone asking more questions in chat. They're asking if i3 is like a chain or a franchise. No, so we are what's called a makerspace, and that is a more or less a community. It's loosely defined as a communal shop where people cannot necessarily. We can't all afford fancy tools like the Haas machine that Thad so gracefully manages for us. Costs about $26,000 used on eBay was the most recent thing that I've seen.
Yep.
It can get more expensive. It can get less expensive. And it depends on how much. But either way, the example is that there are some machines that are too expensive for us to own as individuals, or they're too burdensome for one person to own, where the maintenance would just be impossible to handle. So, a makerspace, people agree to kind of either buy or share or go in like a pot of sorts, and then they buy and outfit a large industrial space to work in. So you have all these different welders, fabricators, woodworkers. So Dalvin, to answer your question, the people you've been seeing on the show the past few weeks when you've tuned in are all different tradespeople, and that's what we're trying to do with the show is be like, hey, here's this person who does this thing, and next week we're going to talk to someone who does something completely different because there's this massive industrial space that we can all draw from. So,
That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Great place.
yeah.
So we've hit on a couple different kind of things all over for to kind of answers to this question, but are there specific things you would suggest people look to for resources, or things you suggest that they do if they want to get into CNC of any level, or injection molding, or actually even better, maybe like entrepreneurship, coming up with their own designs? Because I think a lot of people like the idea of the ideation to the bank, as you said, right? That entire life cycle.
Yeah. What was the first part of the question?
Just suggestions on how people can get started in any of the areas that we kind of talked about. I mean, whichever ones you think
Oh,
are most you have good answers for, or you
yeah.
think are
Well,
most interesting.
I this is constantly, and tell people that want to use the Haas. I see you've got to have a project. 'Cause if you don't, you just the training won't stick. Um, and it's a big Haas is a big commitment. But you can do some really cool stuff with it. I mean, to me, it's all about finding a project you're kind of passionate about. Whether we've had people come through that want to build their own CNC machine. And so they actually want to come in and build the parts. A guy, in fact, I'm still with him today. I remember I was working on the plastic injection molding machine. This guy comes in, he looks at me, and I'm on my knees back then, just trying to get one good part out of it. It was a Friday night. He says, "Hi, I'm Frank. "Oh, hey Frank, what do cool. What talk to me. What do you want to do? I want to make a clock."
Oh,
Thinking, "Oh my
that
god,
Frank.
dude!" Thinking to myself, "This guy. What are the chances somebody's actually gonna everything they have to know?" I said, "Well, do you know CAD?" "Oh, okay." And I learned the Fusion 360. He learned the CAD.
I didn't realize he'd never done it before. I figured that he just needed to use the Haas.
He'd never done it, never run the Haas. He'd done machining work, manual, run mills and things, but he'd never run a CNC machine. And so we got him going, and then he was one of the few people. Don't do this because it always gets way more involved than you think. He actually paid me to help him get his first project going. I worked 3 weeks for him. So no matter if somebody comes up and says, "Oh, this should only take a day or only 3 hours." Yeah, right. We always say the pi multiplier. Multiply by pi at a minimum, you know. But so he was going to make a clock. One guy wanted to make a CNC machine. One guy wanted to make something for his bike. Um, a handlebar thing. So for me, if you don't have a project that you want to do, and you're just saying, "Oh, I'd love to learn how to run the Haas." Well, do you have a project? No, but I just love to learn the Haas. You're not going to.
Yeah.
You'd really surprise me if you did. Um, and so the first thing, is find something that you want to put the time into. Um, we can help you do it. You'll do it.
Yeah, the Haas has a special place in my heart too, because that's what I originally joined for, and I joined because Jim got tired of signing me in to like teach me to use the Haas,
Yeah.
and so he's like, "You should just join so I can stop having to babysit you." I was like, "Okay, sounds good."
And now, as karmic, now your role at I3 makes sense because as karmic revenge, you now babysit all of us.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So
I love you, Matt.
yeah. Yeah, so what I try to do is look for me personally, going from I call it a napkin to the bank is something unique. Like there was somebody making Minecraft. There was one company in the world that made custom Minecraft action figures. My grandsons, I was making them for fun with them. They pointed to me, but they were 3D printing them. They were junk. And so I saw, hey, there's a market for I can do a better job at it. And so that's as an entrepreneur talking about that end. That's how I like to go. Is look for something, where maybe somebody's doing it. Just sometimes a good way to get into it because if you're doing something totally new, you really don't know if there's a market for it. If somebody's doing something already, you can gauge the market and then you can improve on it. So quite often the second person the game is the winner. Lego wasn't the first one that invented the bricks fit together. Somebody in England, they didn't patent it in wherever they were, Denmark or wherever. They improved on it. And so quite often it's the second person at the table that makes it.
the
eh,
incremental improver. Yeah,
yeah, and then because the one question that stops people from going into business, the very one question is, how many are you going to sell of these things? I have
yeah,
no idea. I have no idea. Nobody does. Nobody
yeah.
knows. And so,
Even the massive companies half the time don't know if they're going to have
no,
the market they think they will.
no, it's like asking somebody, a big film producer, well, is this going to be a hit? We have no idea, you know? And so that stops a lot of people. Good reason, because it's risky. You got to put a lot of time and or money into something, and you don't know how many you're going to sell. And so that's kind of why I like to look at, maybe businesses that are already out there and I can improve on the way they do things.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, and
And
that's
it's
just for me.
and when you're in business more or less for yourself like that, then you're not like worrying about convincing a bunch of investors that there's going to be a market there, and
Yeah,
you're only out whatever you were willing to put into it in a lot of those cases.
yeah, and that's a lot more risky way to go. I've made a lot of money doing that way, and I've lost a lot. Uh, so if you talk to oh, business people, experienced, very successful, they'll say never work with your own money, work with somebody else's. But now you got to work with investors. Oh my
Yeah.
god. Oh, but risk is lower. I tend to go. I'm more of an all or nothing kind of guy, and
Yeah.
sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Keeps it
So,
interesting.
so I want to return to another thing that got brought up because so often we get to sit here and ask so many great questions, and Rob behind the camera Rob Burns runs the Media Lab. That is the one who's been doing all this great stuff for us. He actually asked a great question that we'd like to entertain. Because I mean, me and Matt every week we get the spotlight, and we get to ask these awesome questions that serve our interests. So Rob actually would love to know more about the mocap stuff you did. He brought up,
wow, that was cool.
like, yeah. Hold on, let me find exactly how he kind of phrased it. Um, how did you start it, or how did you get involved with the mocap studio that did the Iron
Oh
Man?
wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'd sold my patent to General Motors, and so I had a good size amount of money, and so I wanted to look. I didn't want to be in automotive anymore, you know. So I thought, well, I want to do something different. So I went to California. I traveled out there looking for something in the entertainment business that was unique. I started going to San Francisco to the Film Arts Foundation, took classes in music video production, and then I went to LA to their Final Cut user group meetings. I kept meeting people out there. Looking, I met some really cool, unique people. And I kept going. I've over probably a year and a half looking for something. I became a Steadicam operator. I found one of the leading guys, Steadicam operators from Steadicam company. Went out, took training, and I thought that was really cool. And then I thought, I'm not going to be the world's best cinematographer because you got to know. Oh, then I was doing a short film here in Detroit for some guys, producing a short film for a group of guys out of Detroit, and it was about being sucked into a video game. And we ended up going to this little game studio downtown in Tech Town. We're in Tech Town,
Hmm.
and so after the shoot, I got talking to them, animation. They were explaining to me all the moves in video games are done with motion capture. I said, "What?" "Oh yeah, these things with markers on and a light
Ping
went
pong
on." I said,
balls.
"That's unique." "Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's it. That's it." So we found out who makes motion capture cameras. There's basically two of them. There was one Vicon, Los Angeles, and Motion Analysis up in San Francisco. And so I went out, visited both of them, and then hooked up with these guys. They'd graduated from College of Creative Studies. They'd been out for about 3 years, and they had their animation. So then again, go big or go home. Geez. So I was selected Vicon as the motion capture, and so bought at that time was one of the largest mocap studios in the country. It had like 36 cameras, and then we leased a studio in the east side of Detroit, Edgew Stage on Edgew Road. They have two big sound stages they weren't using, so we mounted all the cameras in there, and we we did a spot for a couple of the advertising agencies here in town. Cox Communication did one, and then we got the company that did the first Iron Man video game. They came out and we did all the cinematics for them, and then we did all the facial motion capture for them too. That was really cool.
Hmm.
And we went out to Vicon. And we bought the cameras from 'em. I paid them to train us, and then what ended up really did not see this coming. We actually had worldwide wrestling at our studio for 3 days. We were one of the two studios. They got down to the wire that they were interviewing to do, I think, 2007, all the worldwide wrestling. And he said, "Well, you just don't have the actors in Detroit." And because we had to fly motion capture actors in from LA because it's a whole different acting. Oh, actors here, they act with your face, and but you've got to be over and active, and we did that, and then we ended up also doing a rodeo. Guys came up from Texas. We rented a rodeo ranch, and we actually motion captured a rodeo game. We did Ben Hogan, a game for Ben Hogan. We brought some pro golfers in, but ultimately, I couldn't keep enough money coming in. That's my
Hmm.
that's the story.
It's definitely a very unique business opportunity, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the big mistake I made was not bringing somebody in from LA to really like be a partner with, you know. because I didn't have the contacts. I didn't
Yeah, all
know
the
enough.
networking.
I just tried to, and didn't get the investors, so it didn't work out. But I wouldn't have found i3 if I hadn't, it would have worked. So,
Yeah.
That'd
yeah.
be that's one of those businesses that I wouldn't think of being brought to Detroit, but it's those kinds of things that we need to be looking out for to bring to the city, right? To
Yeah, I
diversify
mean,
our entire economy.
I had so many talks with people, and this was right during when the film incentive. Well, it was actually about 2 years before the film incentive came. We weren't at a high enough level to really do film mocap. I mean, that's a lot more sophisticated work, and so we really couldn't capitalize on it. But one of the problems with the film incentive was they didn't have it for video games, and that's really where the work is. You have a video game takes three years, but film shoots are in and out. We couldn't convince the state of that.
Hmm, interesting.
Yeah. If anybody wants to see it, I've got great mocap data from Worldwide Wrestling. You can see these guys bashing each over the head with chairs. They actually,
Did they
uh,
motion capture the chair?
yeah, oh yeah. I put markers on the chair, and so we got that data. We've got the rodeo was a really fun one, doing all the roping, steer rope. We actually had to put mocap markers on the horses and a steer, and so got all that data. So it's a lot of fun. It was a good time. It just wasn't profitable.
Some of the best things in life aren't free. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like the experiences like that. I mean, to have the bragging rights to at one point we were the largest mocap studio in the world or in the country. That is
Yeah.
that's a badge worth wearing. That.
Yeah, that was fun. It was fun until it wasn't.
Yeah. So
There are worse ways to spend a few years, probably.
Yeah, well, I told my wife we got good stories. You
Yeah.
gotta have a lot of money, but we got good stories.
yeah. So you kind of as far as it goes, you answered kind of the last two questions or whatever in that last little story. So we'll wrap up with this one. Um, let's see. What do you view as the apex of your craft or what you do? Like what is the end goal? Like to me, I might aspire to be Sam Maloof because he was one of the great he designs the presidential rocking chairs or whatever the hell else he does as a furniture designer. But as far as it goes, like what either who is that idol for you or what does that kind of end game or end what does that version of yourself look like? What is the apex of what you do?
Oh, it's hard to say because I've reached the apex a couple once. It's not as exciting as you think. It's like
About the chase.
so it's really about the chase. It's really about today. And I mean that's kind of a lame. That's kind of a
No, keep going
sort of
with it. You're
I,
no, you're keep going.
that's I mean really that because that's some days I get up and I worry and this and that and I think wait a minute, what can you do today that's really cool and really fun and um and so because it's always you always think it's about the money. If I just have more money, if I just have this, if I just have that, and, you do. Oh, you because I've been without. I've been when let's say this money isn't everything. You don't have any. So you know there's a certain level where life is just painful if you don't have enough money. But it really doesn't buy happiness. And I used to say, yeah, I know, I'd rather be happy rich than happy. No, I know. I guess, apex, that's it, it really, really for me, it's just having something to be curious about, work on. And like today, we're designing this new because of we've had time on our hands. I did some mold work that I wanted to fix up, and as a result of that, I couldn't measure the mold. It was too small to get a measuring tool in. Couldn't get calipers, couldn't. So I put off making it, and then about a month ago, we stuck a USB camera in the Haas over at Jim's, And oh my God, I could measure it with a USB camera. Well, I said, oh my God, I've been wanting one of those. I had one of those 20 years ago. I've just lost without it. So we're making a desktop, what I call camera caliper. Okay.
Hmm.
It's about 10 by 10. It's going to have a USB, and you can use a video probe to measure things. And there's some things like rubber, plastic, small parts, you just can't really measure easily. And we were having troubles, with it. And I'm thinking, should I be doing this? Am I wasting my time? Oh, is this going to sell? And I went in today, and Jim says, let's hook up that glass scale and see what kind of tolerances we can get out of this. Okay. I went to Micro Center, and he texted me, oh, you got to get back here fast. I got it hooked up. Oh my God. I went back, and he's got this little screen, and we were holding 0.2 of 1/1000th of an inch of this thing built out of extruded aluminum rail. I was like, that's the apex for me, days like that. And then, but also taking it to the bank. I remember getting a big check. I sold a patent. That was an apex. Yes, but it doesn't last that long. A big payout, what really, really keeps me going is every day having something to be enthused about. Usually that involves collaboration, determination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a big part, just having something to work towards. Once, like you said, when you have enough resources to be comfortable, after that it's you got to kind of make your own goals and make your own
Yeah.
kind of passion projects,
I mean,
right?
I would love to drive a BMW. I used to have a BMW 750. Went over to Germany and toured the plant and drove it around for 3 weeks. I would love to have I love BMWs, but you guys saw the vehicle I drive. I don't have a BMW.
It's not
Am
quite
I,
a gamer.
am I sad? No. But I did the transmission died on S10, so I got a Dodge Caravan. So, uh, but yeah. No, so to really answer the question, the person, the past that I really aspired to is Michael Faraday, who wasn't a mathematician. He figured out that if you stuck a core rod through a coil of wire, you could generate electricity. And the other guy, current day person, is Elon Musk. I mean, come on. I mean, if everybody's got opinions about Elon Musk, but for me, come on, you build a car company and in your spare time build a rocket company. And I would love to be as smart as him and have the managerial skills of him and the investor relations skills of him.
Yeah.
Right.
And to put it to anyone who has doubts, the reason why I didn't immediately, as far as it goes, show a little bit disgust is because a broken clock is right twice a day, people. Even even if he has his moments and there's some absolutely crap things he does, look at the behavior patterns of successful people. As far as it goes, and I'm not saying defend some of the other things that he's done. That's
Yeah. I mean, you get out, throw all that aside.
Yeah, and look at
Steve Jobs. Who doesn't? Who has really made it? They're gonna have controversy.
Yeah,
Just purely, and so some days, you got to use people for inspiration. Some days, because what I do is I look for how they manage things. And what I got out of him was he said, I go to Tesla Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, and I go to SpaceX Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I thought, how brilliant is that? It's a simple little thing. Why don't I focus on one thing for one day instead of trying to do 50 things one day?
Yeah.
Because focus is cool.
Yeah. And that'll get you, persistence and focus will get you a lot farther than, barfing numbers, as we've learned tonight. So,
all right.
And that's not to bag on anybody. That's not what I'm doing. But
no.
We coming off all that. That was, to me, was a takeaway. So we're getting closer to the end here. So I'd like to ask Thad, as far as it goes. You had a wonderful closing statement, actually. So I think we're gonna like
while we're ahead.
That was a good way to close everything.
You didn't know it was your closing statement, but it was your closing statement.
Sorry,
I would have been nervous.
Exactly. Like we did you a favor here. We just played you off. No, but so as far as it goes, if you'd like to, I mean, I would tell the people at home, stay up to date with Red Lava Toys by going to that website. I don't know if you have any social media you promote or anything along that line.
One of the things I got to do is improve the website so you guys can look at it and trash me because it's horrible. I gotta get it updated. It's up there.
So
as long as it has a presence, I mean, people can find it at least.
Didn't do much with Facebook because it's so bad. I just haven't promoted because it's bad. But the website is up there, and I'm learning. I think I finally picked a software to improve it.
Yeah. So either way, go check out that stuff at Red Lava Toys. As far as it goes, our Facebook, my Instagram, the where to find i3 Detroit is linked below as well. Matt?
Yeah, if you'd like to find out more about i3, you can find us on Twitter and Facebook, wherever you get your social media. Links are in the description. And if you want to support us, i3detroit.org/donate is the short link.
So, and as far as it goes, we understand that though certain things will be lifting soon, that there are many of you still in your home shops as far as it goes. So if you'd, and even afterwards, if you'd like to take pictures of what you've been making, crafting, whatever else, and tag us, tag i3 Detroit on Instagram, go find us there, tag your latest project or what you've been doing or what you've been working and making up to. So yeah, and even tweet at me at Tom Tusano and have it shared on next week's podcast. We still haven't gotten an entry. How fantastic would it be for someone to be the first entry into our shared content? Please, folks, we're begging you, send us things. We want to show the world. And we'd also like to remind you, as we sign off here, that we do partner with the Syn Shop, located at 1075 American Pacific Drive, Suite C, in lovely Henderson, Nevada. And the link below is their YouTube channel where you can tune in to continue the conversation on making and hacking with Crux and the Mighty Pong. And with that, remember to make something wonderful and stay your amazing selves. So,
all right.
And Rob, you may, it'll take a couple minutes here, but Rob, you may.
Hopefully not minutes, but.
So, yeah. Well, Rob's normally really good on it. He'll tell us, like, and you're offline. But either way, we sit here and the past, the next minute or so. Okay.
The beginning of the broadcast and the end of the broadcast are a bit of an enigma to us.
Yeah, we're just missing the void.
You know what those, those commentators know when the camera doesn't cut from them and they're just staring, how much I smile.
Yeah. So we're just out here. We're just gonna be goofballs for the next, until they tell us.
It's more entertaining when it's the beginning of the show. We're just like in the middle of a conversation when it fades. I'm like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Hey, we had Danny Munch.
I didn't see you.